Jack It Off Podcast, episode 17, Jamaica edition. Although the last one probably could have been Jamaica edition.
That was
too.
probably more Jamaica edition.
That was pre Jamaica. Now we're talking.
Yes,
I'm living in a Jamaica world
we're
now.
We're not in Jamaica, so it's not
I'm
actually
still a little bit in Jamaica.
Jamaican version.
So last time we all were together, meaning Andrew, who once again is not here, thus keeping up the tradition of Andrew being the least attended technical host of the Jack It Off podcast.
He's in Baltimore right now at the Moonrise Festival.
Oh, come on with that. Why are we not there?
I don't know.
Great, I don't know. Good. Who's it? Was it because it was a gross disappointment? Is it like when Ashley went, or is it good? I thought she hated the Moonrise Festival. Maybe it was a different festival.
No, she hated the Life in Color.
Oh, okay, yeah. What? Who's at Moonrise?
Everybody, again.
That we back out here again.
Yeah. Dilstradamus, that was a hot one. Porter Robinson.
What? How did he get the money to do this? Madion? I've never seen Madion. He's like at 4 tours, festivals a year.
Yeah, well.
So where'd the money come from, Dylan?
Ashley bought him the ticket.
Is he selling drugs again?
No, I just told you.
Continuing to sell drugs.
I literally just told you.
And where did she get all this money from?
Well, she works.
We're talking about two people here, Dylan, that shouldn't have no money to do a festival that costs probably as much as Mysteryland.
Well, it doesn't cost that much.
Where is it?
Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. You said it was Baltimore.
Yeah. And
how did they get there? Wow, that's a big drive.
Yeah, Becca drove.
Holy shit. What are they driving in?
Becca's car.
Dodge Stratus. 97 Dodge Stratus.
She's got a Chevy Cruze.
Cruising up in the cruise. I'm kind of jealous right now. You're not?
No. And I didn't just go to Jamaica.
All that aside, let's forget.
Oh yeah.
Let's forget
that.
Let's forget I took a fucking gallivanting trip to
Jamaica. A week trip to Jamaica. Forget that.
Are you jealous?
No, because I could have went, but I just didn't.
Why?
I don't know.
You did. How much planning was involved in this? Did Andrew just mention to you 2 days ago, hey, by the way, I'm going to Moonrise. You want to go?
No, I knew they were going to Moonrise for probably over a month now.
That's upsetting. A little bit. I would have at least wanted you to go so that when you came back, you'd tell me how great it was.
I'm sure it's great. There, I told you.
Upsetting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to move past this, but we're going to have to. We're going to have to chug through. We're going to have to push through. I have to tell you a bunch of stories about what happened in Jamaica, because you knew that was coming. I mean, this wouldn't be this podcast without me telling about my traveling. Although this time the traveling that I did was, even though it was fraught with difficulty, it was also still a thing that I wanted to do rather than a thing that I was forced to do. So I guess we'll start off with we'll go in reverse. I'm gonna Tarantino it for you.
Reverse.
Reverse.
Yeah.
So getting back from Jamaica was probably one of the worst situations ever. With all the traveling that I've done in the past, I've never had to stay at a hotel because my flight was canceled. Always found a different way. Always figured out how to get home. We're flying JetBlue, otherwise known as you might as well fucking walk to Jamaica for how much success JetBlue has getting a fucking plane off the ground. Because it's happened twice now. The first time was when we were coming back from Florida. We got stuck at JFK and I had to drive us all home. So that's the experience of JetBlue. You just basically go fuck yourself. So with this one, We were leaving Montego Bay. We get on the tour bus. We're all sad that we're leaving. Everybody's saying goodbye to their resort and their buffet and
Buffet.
the buffets. We'll get to the buffets. Don't worry. It wouldn't be me talking about a trip if I weren't talking about the food and the buffets. Really, that's going to be a central. That's going to be a central.
That's talking point 2.
Talking point number 2 is the food, but talking point number 1 was holy fuck the travel. I mean, it has to be said. So we get on the bus. We go to the airport. We have a lot of time, so I decide to go to the duty free and pick myself up a bottle, several bottles of overproof rum, otherwise known as White Lightning. That's famous in Jamaica for its potency and the fact that I can't get it in America by and large. So I buy a couple bottles of that, I stuff them in my bag. They put them in one of those security pouches, like a plastic security pouch and whatever. So we get on the plane to go to Orlando. When we land, they tell us that, and this is actually a story that I ended up finding out about later in retrospect, but when we land, all I know for sure is that we're taxiing for a really long time to get back to the gate. Then our pilot comes over the intercom and says, so here's what's happening. The customs area of Florida or Orlando International Airport has been flooded.
Oh.
Due to a pipe bursting.
Pipe burst.
Said, okay.
Classic.
So he said, we're going to be here for about another 15 to 20 minutes while we figure out how. Essentially what's going to happen is you're going to go into the terminal and you're going to have to get bussed to the only other customs inbound thing that's in the airport, and it's going to take forever. I mean, the pilot almost sounded like, you guys are fucked. Like, wow. It's bad when your pilot is less than reassuring about your situation right now.
Thank God I'm not you.
He's like, I'm going to be able to get off this plane and fucking walk straight through the terminal and bang both of the flight attendants in the bathroom.
Maybe if you idiots didn't try to bring weed over all the time, we wouldn't have to go through these customs, but here we are.
So we get up to the gate finally, but then the pilot comes over with some good news. He says, oh, congratulations, they cleaned up the customs area. This flight is going to be the first flight that's able to be checked into customs. Oh, thank Christ.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh, great. So we get into the airport. We get ourselves through customs. The first time, of course, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I bought a couple of bottles of duty-free booze, right? Duty-free means that you're not paying any taxes on it, and also that since you bought it in an airport terminal, that there should be a limited amount of screening involved to get it back into the country, right? So I filled out my little customs card and I said, okay, nothing to declare. This isn't really a big deal. Doesn't really have anything on there for liquids of any kind, even though the liquids that I'm bringing into the country are over the standard 3.5 ounce limit for TSA. So get into the airport. Lo and behold, I get through the baggage claim thing, and guess whose bag is on the side ready to be checked? It's mine. Whatever. I knew this was going to happen. At this point, I'm smarter than this. I understand that I have 3 tiny bottles of booze in my bag. They're going to get checked. So the guy takes all the shit out, rifles through my whole bag, and puts all the booze bottles in this special scanner I've never seen before. You basically put the bottle in there and it shoots a shitload of lasers into it, I guess. For clarity? I don't know what the fuck it is.
You could get superpowers if you drink that booze.
They've turned my fucking alcohol into like nuclear sludge. So they put all the bottles hastily back in the bag and try to tape the shit up with a bunch of TSA tape or whatever. It looks like it looks like hell. They put it back in my bag, and then we get to the airport. Now, this is where it all goes to shit. So my dad gets a call from my aunt. Mind you, we're traveling with a shit load of people. We're traveling with like at least a dozen people. On and off, a couple people who live in Orlando sort of left the airport and went back to their homes and whatever. So now we're down to like 8 or 9 people. Having to manage this many people in a travel scenario is a fucking nightmare. So my aunt calls my dad because she's 3/4 of the way over on some other side of the airport, got lost. I don't know what the fuck happened. She goes, "Hey, our flight's been canceled." My dad's face dropped. We had a really long layover in Orlando, and the flight was at around, I think, 6 or 7 o'clock. It's the last flight out of Orlando to Syracuse, at least the last direct one for the night. So we go over to the gate and we ask the help desk, which is a fucking oxymoron. Hey, we're a million people. How do we get all of these fucking million people on a flight to go to Syracuse? He's like, well, the next available one is tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning means that what's going to happen is they're going to take the 6 or 7 people and split them up into groups. And each one of them gets a worse flight than the one before. So he's like, you two get to get on a plane at 7:30 in the morning and be at JFK, which, for those who don't know, JFK is the worst airport in America. It's a festering boil of travel on the face of the United States. Total shit show. So you two get the first flight out of JFK. So you two means my aunt, my uncle Rob, a bunch of other people. So at this point, my dad is fucking livid. He's about to kill someone. I have to sort of try to like rein this whole thing in and be like, okay, let's just think this through, okay, Captain? Let's try to figure it out. So my Aunt Deb that morning gets on a flight that's going to go into JFK. She's not going to have that long of a layover. They're going to leave there at 11. They're probably going to get back at like 1, 2 o'clock, maybe something like that. So they get that flight. My dad and my stepmom get the second worst flight, which is the flight that leaves at roughly the same time the next morning, but has a fucking 4-hour layover in JFK. And then Becky and I get the third worst flight, which if we would have left on that flight would have put us at like 9 o'clock on a flight with the same time layover. We would have been back at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, taking us all day to fly. So the guy said, you can get on standby for that flight and hopefully you can get on it. So we got standby and we put all our details into the system. The next morning, we stay at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. They give us a bunch of vouchers for dinner and breakfast at all the shitty airport offerings that JFK has to offer the people, which is like cheeseburger, which is a thing. It's horrific. Fucking Panda Express. You get like 5 options. Congratulations. So we get dinner. We wake up the next morning at 4:30 in the morning to try to go get on that standby flight. And lo and behold, the next miracle of flight happens. We both get on the airplane. So we get on that airplane. We go to JFK and we sit for 4 hours. Now, here's the fun part. As if all of that wasn't super fun enough, I was looking at, because we were really hungry, I was looking at what restaurants are in JFK. What can we find that's really like good? And I found Shake Shack. I was like, oh, Shake Shack. That's the shit right there. That's the best burger joint ever. It was in the terminal next to ours. So I was like, why don't me and Becky take a walk around and go to the next terminal and get Shake Shack and bring it back for everybody? So Becky and I go to the next terminal. We go down the escalator. We head out a set of double doors. And we go over to the right, and it's a big-ass, long set of people movers, you know, those fucking, like, horizontal escalators, essentially. It's like a million miles. We're like, fuck this. Let's just get something in our terminal, some shit food in our terminal, because this is going to take forever. So we go back. Then all of a sudden, we have a sinking feeling that we've left the terminal and have no way of getting back in. So now we ask a security guard, we just left Terminal 4. How do we get to Terminal 5? And he says, well, you have to go back through security. I'm like, I'm going to strangle you right now unless you tell me how to get back into that terminal without going back through security. He's like, not going to happen. You got to go back through security. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Becky has none of her documents. She has no ID. She has no passport. She has nothing. So I have to swallow my pride and call my already irate father and say, can you dig in Becky's backpack and get her boarding pass and ID? They won't let us back in the fucking airport. So now what he has to do is come down to the threshold by which You can either exit the airport or enter the airport. And it's literally like we're on two sides of a force field. The two security guards are standing at the door, and my dad literally cannot give this information to me through the threshold. The security guards won't let him. They literally armbarred him at the door saying, you can't go past this point. And I'm just standing there looking at him. He had to hand Becky's information to some rando woman that was walking up behind him and say, can you give this to her through the gate? So this woman gives Becky her information. Luckily, I have TSA pre-check. So we take all of our shit, which is nothing. We're literally just two people. We take all of our stuff out of our pockets at the security checkpoint, put it all in the bucket. We're through in 5 minutes. Then we go back into the terminal and order a shitty cheeseburger and sit down with that. 20 minutes later, our flight shows up. We pretty much killed the entire time of our layover just dicking around in the airport.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's not
it was
bad.
Real fun.
You're like, man, I almost missed my flight at this point.
Yeah. So,
pretty sure your dad would have just fucking left you if you guys were.
He would have been on that flight. He'd be like, you're on your own. Bye.
See you later.
Goodbye. Waving at me through that threshold, me left with all my shit in both hands. Bye. See you later. So we got back to Syracuse, and at that point, I already had a flight that I needed to make that day to Pittsburgh. My work decided that it would be a good idea to gamble the kind of luck that I typically have on business trips and transfer that to personal trips. So what they assumed was that everything was going to go off without a hitch. I was going to be able to come home the day of the flight and get everything ready to go and get on the plane and go there. They had already even shipped all my equipment to the hotel. They were so confident.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, real good. So the rest of the week was spent with me trying to return all of the items that I couldn't use because I didn't make it to Pittsburgh, plus rebooking all of the trip to 2 weeks from now. So, not my money. I'm not spending it. So, that's the return home from Jamaica. That's really the long and short of it. I'm sure I'm missing tons of things from that.
You got enough out.
It wouldn't be me without missing a ton of other fucked up shit. Just really great. The trip to Jamaica, absolutely breathtaking. A change of pace from in getting there wasn't really that easy either, but it also paled in comparison to fucking getting home. The food. Of course, we have to talk about the food in Jamaica. Jerk chicken, of course, being the number one staple of Jamaican cuisine, being served at the beach every day from 1 to 3 o'clock. And do not think that I didn't take advantage of that every
day.
Single day.
Yeah, don't worry. I know
I'm
you
not
did.
I'm not going to the lunch buffet in the resort where all I'm going to be able to get is macaroni and cheese and fucking whatever other American bastardization foods that they were trying to pull off there.
Yeah, but
I'm getting the jerk chicken.
Did you get the mac and cheese?
Yes.
How was it?
It tasted kind of like Stouffer's. It was like they did
Probably
it in
was.
one pan with like a brick of cream cheese and those those one pot macaroni and cheese meals. That's kind of what it tasted like.
I'm very much a proponent of getting the food that doesn't belong.
Oh, every time you and I,
like when we go to the Chinese buffet, I gotta try the pizza.
I was just
because it doesn't belong, but man, you gotta see what they think pizza is, and it's never good.
I'm gonna pass out because I was just about to say, when I take you to Chinese buffets, you come back with a plate of pizza, macaroni and cheese, a hamburger, French fries. It's like a fucking Archie comic. Hey, you want to go on down to the? You want to go down to the
Pop's Diner?
Yeah, you want to go to the Soda Jerk? Get a cheeseburger and some French fries.
It's funny you brought up Archie. We'll talk
Why?
about that later. We'll talk about it later.
Riverdale?
Keep going. Yeah. Yo, that show is off the fucking chain, dude.
Did you and Andrew give me a recommendation of that last time?
I
I
think
think you
so.
did. I think Andrew might have said something
Yeah.
about it. I have to let. I'm gonna
But
write that down now because I really do want to watch it.
I finished it, and it's well worth the full
Is
watch
it?
through. Yeah, and I
How
think
long is it? Is it just a
it's
season right now?
13 episodes, and
Oh.
they're like 40-minute episodes.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, and
Um,
so and like yeah, just one season now, and I think Netflix has like a deal with CW because it says season 2 is coming out in October, and that literally when it starts on TV. So I think it
oh
might
no
be
shit.
like
So they're
day and
doing
date.
like instant distribution.
Yeah, I think so. That's the way it sounds.
Cool. Um. Anyway,
Anyway,
the
jerk chicken.
jerk chicken. That's absolutely right. We went out on a couple tours too, where we were in the bus, and we went out on. We did go out on some tours, Dylan. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but Fun Jet Vacations didn't have a banana tour. I am so sorry to say.
What kind
And
of
I know,
tour could they possibly
I know
have?
that's a short sight on their part. I understand.
What kind of tour could they possibly replace the banana tour with?
I could certainly give you a few here, and whether or not that replaces the quality of the
Would
banana
they
tour is
interest
really
me?
up to you.
Motherfucker, I can go up the street and see a sunset. The sunset's everywhere. I don't need to go on a sunset tour.
Down at the Sunset Tour. The very first, well, actually, funnily enough, it was weird. One of the guys that went with us is a Freemason, which is that total Illuminati shit. Very interesting. But apparently, and this is something that I didn't know or understand, Freemasons exist all over the world.
Yeah.
And if you are yourself,
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I didn't
shit.
know. I didn't know that it was like the same thing like everywhere. I thought they all had like a different version of what we're talking about.
Oh no, it's like a church basically.
Very much in a way. Like the guy that went with us was one of my cousin's husbands, and he is a Freemason in Texas. And he contacted the Masonic Temple in Jamaica and asked them if there was a guy that would be willing to take him on a tour of the temple and, you know, show him around and whatever. This is like the first day that we were there. All of a sudden, I felt like being at a resort in this scenario, I was trapped. Like, I'm trapped with macaroni and cheese and Jamaican pizza. Like, I have to do something. I have to get off of this resort and see what all of this is really like. So I texted him and I was like, hey, listen, we saw some shit, but it wasn't nearly what everybody fucking paints it as. It's really not. Just who's gonna go out in Jamaica at nighttime anyway? Think about it this way. Who in their fucking right mind?
I love how it's like, yeah, but I mean, sure it happens, but who's gonna go out at nighttime anyways?
Listen, the likelihood if you're in Queens or Brooklyn, not Brooklyn, that's gentrified. If you're in Queens or Harlem or like wherever, if you go out during the daytime in Queens or Harlem, you're gonna be like, this is the greatest city in the history of mankind. It's amazing. If you go out at nighttime, you're gonna be like, boy, the likelihood of me getting shot just rose exponentially.
Yeah, but they don't got motherfuckers driving around on motorbikes with AK-47s in Harlem.
Oh, you think it's fucking Cuba. It's like you're talking about Mexico or Cuba where there's like cartels. All these people are just smoking weed. And if they're dealing drugs, then that's the majority of it. So
be you, so be me, so be it.
We went to the Masonic Temple. We took a quick tour. The guy's name was Leroy. Super nice dude. As an added bonus, we all hopped in his Nissan diesel fucking like 4x4 vehicle.
Great.
And went up to this place called the Rose Hill Inn, which was this crazy like Dean Martin secret fucking kidney-shaped pool bar at the top of Montego Bay. It went so far up. I mean, we were going on these mountain roads. They were twisting, fucking turning everywhere.
Quit bumping your
We get to
table.
the top, and I had a fucking red stripe light and looked out at the kidney bean shaped pool, and subsequently the ocean view below. Couldn't get any better. After that, went back to the resort, and then we decided that after that beautiful excursion, we wanted to see more shit. So we went down to the fun jet lady person sitting in the lobby and said, "What kind of tours you got?" The first tour she said was the Bob Marley tour, and I said, "Sign me up." Because you know what that means. It means that we're going to see the history of Bob Marley and all of the different things that are involved with Bob Marley.
Did you get to see the place where he stubbed his toe and died?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that how he died? You know, like, wasn't he playing soccer and, like, stubbed his toe, got an infection, and tried to put secret ointments on it, and secret ointments don't really fucking work. Ask Steve Jobs.
Secret ointments. So he died from an acral lentiginous melanoma, a form of skin cancer. And most people are saying, now this is where the cause of Bob Marley's death is to some people up for debate. I mean, once again, speaking to the fact of I went and toured a Masonic temple, and that's some like straight Illuminati shit. Bob Marley's death could have absolutely been some sort of Illuminati bullshit. Having collapsed while jogging in Central Park during his final tour. Marley played his last ever gig in Pittsburgh in September 1980 before canceling all remaining live dates and flying to Germany for a controversial diet-based Steve Jobs treatment under Josef Isels.
Yeah.
After 8 months, the treatment proved unsuccessful, and Marley boarded a plane home to Jamaica. On the flight, his condition worsened, and he was rushed to the hospital on arrival in Miami, where he died on May 11th, 1981, at the age of 36. Are there any conspiracy theories surrounding Bob Marley's death? The most prevalent theory is that due to his growing political stature in Jamaica, Marley was murdered by the CIA. It suggested that they were behind the attempted assassination at Hope Road, and having failed to kill him, went about more surreptitious means to see him off. It said that Carl Colby, the son of late CIA director William Colby, gave Marley a pair of boots, and when Bob tried them on, a radioactive copper wire inside pricked his toe, causing the cancer. There are also stories that Isels was an ex-SS officer working with the CIA to poison Marley. So that gives you a good idea of really what the scenario
People
may
are
or may
fucking
not.
so stupid.
I don't know what the fuck possesses somebody to come up with the radioactive copper wire theory.
You ever think maybe he was just a fucking idiot who tried using herbs and spices? Fucking KFC's 8-9 special herbs and spices to cure his cancer, and it didn't fucking
I'm
work.
just gonna rub some cumin on the wound. It should be fine.
And it didn't fucking work.
So, ultimately, the tour actually was really incredible.
I'm sure it was good. Did you get to see any of his guitars? Did you pick one up? Did you play it? They don't let you play it?
Did you pick one up? Did you play his guitar? They did had some laying around in his bedroom. Had a couple of like baritone ukuleles and a couple of Gibsons hanging around, but they were behind rope.
Yeah. Oh, the rope stopped you?
Yeah. Because I don't care how high anybody is in that building. I think they're still going to notice me going over and be like, beedly boop, everything going to be all right. Like I know how to play reggae. You're making that sound like I would know how to go over there and fucking pluck out some of those chords.
It's like 2 chords.
So, when we got there,
did you go on the Appleton, the fucking Rumble tour?
Yeah, it is Appleton.
Yeah, Appleton.
No, we didn't. That was the only thing we didn't have time for. Now, the reason why is because I knew that if I went on the Bob Marley tour, even our tour guide said to us that when you go on the Bob Marley tour, keep an open mind, because anything that you can imagine that's there on this tour is there, and it is available to you. That's all she said. Very cryptic. And I was like, I want to see what this is all about now. You've convinced me. We took what seemed like a 14-hour fucking bus ride up to Alexandria, which is a town just outside of 9 Mile, which is where Bob Marley died. 9 Mile itself is probably one of the most destitute areas in Jamaica, depending on how you want to look at it. If you want to look at it urban desolation, you're probably looking at Kingston, which is actually probably where you're going to get shot. If you're going to get shot anywhere, it's in Kingston, which is on the way other side of the island. So we got up there and we got off the bus and we were all kind of moved. We were kind of cattle prodded into an area where on the street, this guy was standing in a lean-to, like just outside of the property. And he had like, I mean, this is like some straight up like fucking medicine man shit. He had a pot of water going, and like you could buy like weed tea. So you could get weed tea. And then there was this big fucking brick sitting in a piece of aluminum foil. It was the most dense hash brick brownie I've ever seen in my life. And they'd cut you off a square brownie if that's what you wanted. And then next to that was like four or five rows of these like boutique Snoop Dogg joints where they look like a carrot. Like they look like a carrot with like a little twist at the end of it. They're so filled with weed. So needless to say, I bought 3 joints. I way overpaid. I don't really want to disclose the amount of money that I paid for 3 joints in Jamaica, but I was on vacation, so whatever. We paid that money. I put everything in my pocket. I got hassled by fucking 400 people. I'm like, listen, I'm out of money. I don't know what else you want me to do.
I just wasted it all on weed. Listen. I'm literally gonna smoke my money.
Yeah. It couldn't have been more.
I can't buy your tchotchkes and your knockoff New York Yankees backpacks. All right. I can't do it.
So, did manage to get like 2 lighters for free. That seemed like an essential that I would have needed. I'd be like, hey, thanks for the lighters, buddy. Least you could do for me overpaying on this joint. So we get into the tour. The guy takes us around. I'm the only white man on the tour. I don't know if I think I neglected to mention that. I'm the only white man on the tour. Becky is the only white woman on the tour. Our tour guide made light of this several times, made sure that I was aware that I was the only white guy on the tour. And when we were in Bob Marley's living room, he made sure that I put on a straw fedora with the Jamaican colors on it, and then made me point to a picture in which Bob Marley's father, who is white, I don't know if you were also aware of that, Bob Marley's father is white. Let me just say that again. So Bob Marley's father is white, made me point to a picture of Bob Marley on the 9 Mile plantation with the exact same fedora on, riding a horse. Then as the rest of the tour went on, I was constantly referred to as Bob Marley's dad. So I made a friend on the tour subsequently because of this interaction. His name was Tommy, and him and his wife were from Louisiana. When I was in the gift shop later on looking at, red stripe hats and several other items of interest, Tommy said, hey, what's going on, man? Because that's how he sounded, literally. I said, hey, Tommy, what's going on? You guys having a good time? He said, yeah, it's our last day here. I just want to get in here and buy a couple things. And he goes, so you found out something interesting about yourself yesterday in a past life? And I said, yeah, I definitely did. And I don't think I'll ever look at my life the same way again. So when we got to Bob's mausoleum, it's this house. You have to take off your shoes. So needless to say, there were some people that were kind of dubious about this fact, especially those who may have been wearing more expensive shoes than I happen to be wearing. Particularly the women, maybe the men who are a little bit more stylish. They might have a pair of Adidas shoes on. Whatever, don't wear those on a tour. You're a fucking idiot. So you had to take off your shoes to see Bob's tomb and Bob's mom's tomb. And when we went in there, you can see that people had left him a bunch of shit, and there was a bunch of pictures all over the place, and there were 2 candles lit. So thought this was prime time. Here we go. So I take the joint out of my pocket, and I light it on the candle, and I stand at the end of Bob's mausoleum, took a big old hit, and I smoke with Bob Marley. So that's the pinnacle of basically I did everything that you would have wanted to do. That was the end. Took us what seemed like 14 hours to come back. I was high off my ass, just sitting in the bus, just like,
oh, Bob Marley's dead.
Bob Marley's dead.
Hey, man, have you heard? I'm fucking Bob Marley's dad.
You hear that, Tommy? Bob Marley, my dad. Irie. So
Bumbaclot, am I right?
Bumbaclot. You bunch of bumbaclot.
What time is it? It's Bumbaclot. Bob Marley's dad. I know these things.
So before that, and our tour guides made it clear that the reason why we were doing these 2 tours and the way that we were doing them is because of the fact that they knew everybody would be stoned out of their minds. The first tour was the Dunn's River Falls. We woke up at the crack ass of dawn, about 7 o'clock. Got on the tour at 7:30. Got on the tour at 7:30 and went to the Dunn's River Falls. Dunn's River Falls is basically a large set of waterfalls over a good mile that empties right into the Montego Bay sort of bay, as it were. You know what those things are called, bays.
Yeah, bays. The Bay Area, Montego
the Bay Area,
Bay.
Right. So
just off the coast of California, the Bay Area.
Right, the LBC.
LBC, right. Long Beach.
So we went to the Dunn's River Falls, and what you do when you go to the Dunn's River Falls is essentially Enchanted Forest Water Safari without any of the rides. The main attraction, of course, is the falls. And what do you do on the falls? You climb that bitch. You climb those motherfuckers. You start at the bottom, and you go with a big group, and the water is rushing down and going all over you. It's freezing fucking cold. It was actually really good because it's about 140,000 degrees. Climbing up the waterfall, we get to the top. Then we all get in the pool. We get hassled by again. A bunch of people wanted to sell us shit. Needless to say, we bought some shit. I mean, you can't listen. You can't. In some way, Dylan, it seems like when you go to Jamaica, your guard is let down to the point where, like, in your normal life, you don't have these interactions with people. You don't go to work and have somebody be like, "Hey, you want to buy some of this junk that I have? You want? Hey, listen, hey, you're a good looking dude. You're a real swag daddy."
But I could go to the mall and not buy the fucking creams and shit they sell at the center kiosks there. Hey, pal, you want to try? You want me to shine your nails for you? No fucking want you to shine my nails. Get out of here. I'm here to buy a pair of shoes and get the fuck out of here. Maybe get some Subway or some Sbarro's pizza.
The extent to which those people hassle you is by and large 1/10 of the degree and intensity to which those that hassle you in Jamaica do. They are literally masters of sales. Like, you'd almost think that they've stolen something from you already just by talking to you. That they've already picked your pockets. They already know everything about you. And you're left with this sense of just like humming. I don't know. So we bought some overpriced shit, whatever. Again, got hassled, bought some overpriced shit. That's really should be the motto of Jamaica.
Sure, classic.
Get hassled, buy some overpriced shit. Jamaica. Listen to some Bob Marley. So we get out of there, and then we go to the Bob Marley tour. We get all back, go to the buffet. We're tired as fuck, and we eat some chicken. So that's Jamaica. I swam in a bioluminescent pool, which is 1 out of 4 in the world. This one being the brightest of them. What a bioluminescent pool is, Dylan, in case you were wondering. is a saltwater mixed with freshwater lake that is home to trillions and zillions of tiny microorganisms known as dinoflagellates, which are known to be phosphorus. In the case of them in this water, when you disturb them, they glow a light blue color.
Oh, so you mean they probably just swam up your dick hole and gave you an infection, and you're gonna die pretty soon?
What the tour guide told me was that what you probably want to do when you get back to the hotel room is turn off the light switch in your bathroom and take a piss and see if it glows.
Did you do it?
Needless to say, it didn't.
Oh, boo!
Unfortunately, my piss didn't glow. I'm sorry to disappoint the 6 people that listen to this podcast at a time.
Boo.
So, bioluminescent pool also was absolutely incredible. I will never do that again. There's only 4 in the world, and this was the brightest one. Did some snorkeling, saw some shit, saw some manta rays, saw some flounders.
See a starfish?
No.
Fucking Christ! What? Okay, why'd you even go?
Your qualification. I didn't know you're so passionate about starfish. Good shit. So, the biggest news of Jamaica, I'm sure you saw in the millions of hundreds of fucking thousands of posts, is that I proposed to my girlfriend of 7 years, and that shit's official. I'm off the market, Dylan. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate that all of the women that have never hit it on me in my entire life now don't have the chance to.
It's a shame for them, really.
It really is. I mean, if
they lost one of the good ones. R.I.P.
Yeah, right up here, and no one's more upset about that than I am. And they try, and you know what? I feel like I was rushed. 7 years, I don't think that's enough time. I don't think that's enough time to figure out if that's what I want to do. But, greater pressures were exerted from my life that told me that, well, maybe this is something that I should have done, So, whatever. Here, look, I got a shot right there. Here we go. God, that's strong. Woo! I probably peaked the levels there. Probably busted out my mic.
Great. I love fucking with that shit. It makes me real fun.
Are you talking?
To go through fucking fuck with your peaks. Real blast.
Oh yeah.
Just fucking knock it off.
Well, I guess we can move into the more mundane and the more pop culture of our categories or our talking points. On the plane, I made some time to watch the Castlevania series on Netflix.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was available for download on the
offline
iPad. So yeah, did some offline viewing, and I found it to be very close to the style and tone of the Devil May Cry anime series that had preceded it. That was kind of the initial impression of it. The story itself doesn't do a lot of fan service, actually, ironically enough. They sort of decided that they were going to go with the Resident Evil. That's a Resident Evil moment of the week. They decided they were going to go with the Resident Evil approach and take a universe and put new characters in it. Not necessarily new characters, but characters that most people weren't very familiar with. It was still the Belmonts, like that they took kind of a Belmont storyline, but it wasn't like I was watching an episode of Symphony of the Night. It wasn't Alucard where what everybody knows or Bloodlines. It wasn't a Bloodline storyline. It was some heir to the Belmont thing. His name was Julian Belmont or whatever. You could probably tell that by most accounts, I didn't really recall most of the story because it was kind of unremarkable.
Well, so short. It was only like 4 episodes, 20 minutes each, wasn't it? Or even 3?
Something like that. It was 4. I think it may be 30 minutes or 25 or 30. But
I watched the first episode of it. The setup.
Yeah, and that's where I'm really not into it because, again, what I'm looking for in the first iteration of a Castlevania series is people who are going to watch this have really done most of the world building already. I don't think they're really getting a lot of people that are just going to be like, I wonder what Castlevania is. They kind of did a lot of world building. They did a lot of they featured a lot of stuff that really is Castlevania-esque, but doesn't really include. I mean, it's a lot of religion, which is a theme, I guess, typically in a Castlevania. But really, what I'm looking for is more of the occult. Like, I really want it to be like Blade.
You had Dracula. They burned his girlfriend because she was a witch. There's your occult. Even though it's really just science.
I really understand that. I think it went very far into like a very heavy-handed critique of religion.
Well, I mean,
which I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, but it takes place in the fucking 18th century or whatever. That's
like everything to everybody.
Yeah,
that's a really good point. I think the only problem with it. Yeah, I think the only problem with it to me is like,
and it kind of explains why in the fucking game you fight demons and flying Medusa heads and shit like that. Like, they gave a reason for that instead of just, here's a monster that's in Dracula's castle for no reason.
I think, though, that what I really was looking for out of the monster thing was it seemed like Dracula's army was a little bit like, just felt a little weird. It was just one kind of monster, and it just was rolling through villages, destroying them, which is fine. It's kind of World War Z-esque. It's like you're fighting one enemy.
Yeah, but the fun part is you get the fucking sea creatures and the Medusa heads and
it's like I fucking wanted, like, when I was thinking about Dracula's army, holy shit, I was thinking he was gonna go down in those catacombs and he was gonna come across, like, I mean, the most that he did was the Cyclops. There was a Cyclops in one of the later episodes that he killed, stabbed it right in the eye. Cool.
That's how you kill a Cyclops.
Yes, that's exactly
Stab that fucker right in the eye. That one fucking eye gone.
What I really wanted was a more sort of, I guess, heavy-handed or fan service thing. That's just me, though. I'm sure a lot of people thought the story was pretty good, and
I mean, you might have wanted that, but at the same time, if you got it, you would have been like, well, I could just play the games. I don't need this again. Why would I need to watch this in a different medium? Like,
well, you know
there's
what?
more interaction in the game.
Devil May Cry was an example of an actually pretty good anime series that used the main protagonist from the series. I will grant you the fact, though, that Castlevania had multiple main protagonists. You had Simon Belmont, you had Richter Belmont, you had Alucard, you had Maria Renard, you had, a bunch of different people that usually fronted each game, and it was multiple storylines. Dante and maybe to a lesser extent Virgil would have been the only two people that would ever be able to be the main character in a Devil May Cry anime. However, with that being said, I think the Devil May Cry anime took a lot more direct notes from the franchise than Castlevania did, which is fine. It's a very stylish, it's also egregiously gory. I mean, it is so far. That is fucking brutal. I mean, you're talking about like cross sections, ripping people apart, drawn and quartered.
It even looks like just like the color of the palette. It's like red. Like everything's fucking red and shit.
The whole show is fucking burgundy and gray and black,
as it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. The color palette was spot on. It did really give you a sense of like this whole, it's real dark. It's about as gothic of a visual aesthetic as you could possibly get. But like I said, I could take it or leave it. It wasn't anything that it didn't make me nerd out for Castlevania. You know what I mean? As much as I normally do.
Yeah.
But with the Devil May Cry anime, holy shit, when that came out, oh my god, I watched that and I was like, this satisfies all of my needs.
Hey, Dante, what's going on?
Yeah. It's like cocky Dante sitting at a bar, getting his ice cream sundae. It's like, this is everything I wanted.
I love
you. So yeah, it has a little bit of the cool factor with what's his name, Belmont. He's kind of a cocky sort of cool character, whatever. You know, you got the hot magician lady. That's cool. She does a couple of cool incantations and shit like that.
Is she the lady from Dawn of Sorrow?
I was trying to think because I couldn't remember what her name was. I almost want to say it was Maria, but I don't really think it was. I don't think she appeared again. I think it was another woman. I can't for the life of me remember what her name is, but it could have very well been. They could have taken her from that. I mean, it's not like they didn't do their research. All these characters that are in the show they're absolutely in
exist.
The Castlevania thing. Yeah, they're in there. It's Castlevania is one of those things where you could get online, like one of those like Castlevania family tree fucking things with, Vlad all the way at the top. I also thought that probably the most redeeming part about it in terms of my attraction to the visual effects and sort of the way that they did some of this stuff was
when the castle popped up.
Well, that was really cool. I loved that they sort of still adopted the shape from Symphony of the Night, the real tall and it's like monolithic castle.
And it's upside, like you could tell that it's upside down version of it too, like attached to it.
Yeah. So I mean that's a cool little bit of thing there, but also I think that they did a really, really good version of Dracula. I think his whole demeanor and the way he manifested himself and his complete disregard for I mean, he was so overly powerful.
Did you ever see what we do in the shadows? I think it was
that's with the guy from
Flight of the Conchords. Yeah. Like the Dracula in this reminds me of him. He just looks like him. The way it looks like they modeled like the Dracula like right after him from that, because he's got like the mustache and everything. I don't know. That's
funny.
I saw the first episode, I was like, this looks like fucking Jermaine.
I feel like the Vlad Tepes character design was very smart, and what they made him do with like how he channeled fire, and was a very larger than life sort of entity. That was good. I think him and the girl were probably the two coolest characters.
Mm-hmm. I should probably finish watching that. I only watched the first episode of it.
Yeah, it was good.
Just to watch it. I mean, it's not like it's a waste. It's not like it's such a time sink that where you can't just like blow it out and like literally in passing.
Yeah, and you know what? In many ways, also
accidentally watch it
too.
Yeah. Oh, I think they're gonna do a second season. I think they're already working on a second season. I think it's gonna be longer, like 13 episodes. I think, but like they're gonna be the same length, but just I think it's just gonna be like 13 episodes.
I hope, in a sense, that
this was more of like a test. I think.
Yeah. And I hope it succeeds because I think this universe is so dense that they could really populate it with a lot of cool shit. And really not ruin it, because I feel like the Castlevania type of universe is so like not convoluted, but Jesus Christ, there's so many fucking characters in it. You could have the next season have the original characters in it, but they could run into Alucard or Maria Renard or any of those people, and like be able to tie them in some sense.
Yeah.
With it still maybe being canon. I don't know. I don't really know the definition of canon as it pertains to Castlevania. They've had so many things. I don't really know. So, speaking of other television programs that I probably should watch, you mentioned Riverdale earlier.
Yeah.
What drew you to it, or what made it good?
What made it good?
What made Riverdale good to Dylan? Part 1.
I don't know. It was just a good, it's a mystery show basically.
It's
Archie's Mysteries.
Is it a campy Scooby-Doo type mystery show?
No. It's murder. It hit you with the murder right in the beginning.
Okay.
This ain't old man Jenkins trying to get you out of his theme park so he can build a fucking oil rig on it. This straight murder. And like,
damn you, Archie! You and your meddling friends, Jughead and Veronica.
It's like, murder, backstabbing. Just your classic gritty reboot bullshit. But the characters were believable, I guess.
Is it well acted? Is that why?
Yeah.
It felt like it was well
And
acted?
like, I like some of the callbacks, like to the actual comic, are pretty cool. Like Josie and the Pussycats are in it.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and like
That's pretty
on
cool.
the like when they show them like play, like sometimes they do like live shows, so like there's like a couple songs in it or whatever, and Archie's like an aspiring musician, not a magician. So there's like, I don't know, there's like on the bass drum of Josie and the Pussycats is the original logo of the comic. Yeah. There's one episode where Betty throws because like Betty and Jughead get together, and there's one episode where Betty throws Jughead a birthday party, and she's got this sweater on with like just his crown on it. You know the crown. You know how he wears a crown, right? Like the gold crown. Well, it's like it's just on her sweater. It's just like just the crown, like. And Jughead himself wears a beanie, and there's like it's like flipped up, and there's points to the flip up, so it looks like a crown. And then there's a point where Archie breaks his hand, and it's not very noticeable, but he's got a cast on, and when he's sitting in like they're at Pop's Soda Shack. That's how I knew when you said Archie. I'm like, I know some Archie right now. But like he's just sitting there, and if you look at it, the cast, you could see like Betty and Veronica signed it, but it looks like the cover of Betty and Veronica, like it's that same.
It's got that comic book handwriting.
Yeah, it's the type font of the. I don't know. It's just there's just like cool. They just touch on cool things in Archie, but making a completely fucking different show than just like the fucking good old American boy does good, is good, doesn't know what girl to get. Yeah, it doesn't know what girl to get. You know, your basic.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? It reminds me of when they did. I don't really know how good it was. I remember some people saying it was pretty good, but on Sci-Fi when they did the Tin Man.
Yeah.
Which was the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
was
the
Wizard of Oz crossed with like Columbo, or Law and Order. It was basically the Wizard of Oz crossed with Law and Order. It's actually a lot of people said it was really cool, and the way that they did it was pretty ingenious. Probably a lot of the novelty from something like Riverdale probably comes from what you were just describing, which is like, oh, that was from something that I remember.
Yeah.
You know, like and actually in the same respect. If Castlevania had a little bit more of that when I was watching it, I think I would also probably have that same feeling of where like I'd be real sucked into it if I saw some shit in Castlevania.
It's got that, like, but also you want to watch it because you want to know what happened. Like there's the stories.
The CW knows how to craft a fucking show like that better than anybody else.
Yeah, like you're just like, okay, oh shit, like there's a lot of oh shit moments that. I love my oh shit moments. You're gonna give me an oh shit moment. You got me. Hook, line, and sinker.
It's like the X-Files. The X-Files has 400 oh shit moments in the 900 seasons that was on the air, and you kept wanting to watch it just to see what the next oh shit moment was. I mean, again, CW knows how to craft those shows. My God, they can hire some directors on there and writers that know how to do every episode is a cliffhanger. Every episode is a controversy.
Yeah.
Like
that's pretty much.
They can really pull you in. Hey, I'll give it a watch.
And shit, it's on Netflix. It's not like you gotta pay for it.
Nope. No, I absolutely, that's going on my list. So playing a good game lately?
So, have you played any good games lately?
Oh boy. Well, since I was in Jamaica, the only real good game I was playing was how high am I going to get at the beach tonight?
That's what I figured as much. That's why I figured you could go first here.
I was, oh my God, I was so pissed off today because I was thinking I was in the clear on my desktop and it's not. I got on there, I went on Steam. What I wanted to play today was I kind of just felt like in the mood for like some sort of platformer. I don't know if I want to play like Hollow Knight or something. I don't know, something like that. I just wanted to play some sort of platformer.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on Steam just to see if there was anything that I wanted or if I could come up with anything that I wanted to play. And the fucking 5 minutes into me on the day, it just shuts off again. So now this kind of parlays into the conversation and I mean, I still keep going back to the idea that I want to build something. I don't know what's compelling me to do it. Like, I don't know if it's me wanting to like do like a whole new setup over there, or have something that's like all those dudes on YouTube is like ultimate desk setup, bro. Check out my fucking battle station.
Check it out. I got dual monitors. Fucking dual monitors. G-Sync all across that 144 hertz refresh rate.
I don't, in many ways, I think I'm not an enthusiast. I don't really have the time to. I don't really have the time or the fortitude to be.
Yeah,
an enthusiast.
But you do want something that works.
I want something that works, and I want something that's really cool. Like, and not in the sense that I need the fucking RGB RAM, and I need like all of the that shit. I mean, that's pretty cool in a sense, but all I really want is something that's aesthetically pleasing. The Bit Phoenix just came out with a new case that was pretty nice. It's like it's $60, and it's a white case with a full tempered glass panel on the side, which kind of unheard of for a case that's $60 to have a full glass panel on it. Those are normally like over $100. And it was white. I mean, everybody likes to do the white build, like, but I do genuinely want to do the white build. I mean, you bought the Tomahawk Arctic. I kind of wanted to go with the BG350 Arctic that they make. It's not MSI, it's an Asus Arctic style build. There's an Asus Arctic style motherboard. It's a white motherboard, but like, I can't bring myself to start buying the components because I really don't know what I want to do, like what I want to sacrifice, the pieces that I want to use or whatever. We've gone back and forth of just, why don't you just make it so that the desktop you currently have works in some capacity, but at the same time, I built that 5 years ago and it was already out of date when I built it. I built like the most ultimate budget fucking PC ever. The motherboard that's in it doesn't even have onboard graphics other than an emergency VGA. Like, that's how cheap it was. I think the motherboard was $60. And I just started putting I started Frankensteining components into it just to make it work. And it's in a case that's like an NZXT Source 220 case. It's again another like $50 case. I didn't spend more than $70 on any of the components for that computer. Like, even including, I think the most I spent was maybe like $120 on the APU, which was integrated graphics at the time, until one of my friends just gave me a GTX 760 after buying a 1080. Like, and that was the best graphics card I'd ever had in my life. One that a guy gave to me. He's just like, hey, you want a GTX 760? It's like, yeah, I do. It's the fucking Founders Edition. It's still a great card. So it's just sitting there not working now because it just sat forever because I just didn't get back into it. And that's, again, another fucking whole conundrum is,
if you bother to build it, are you going to...
If I bother to build it, am I going to fucking use it? Or is it just going to be another good look at... I mean, I guess, again, informing the side of it that it needs to look good. If I'm never going to use this thing again, I want people to, at least when they come over to my house, be like, oh, that's nice. What do you got over there? I want it to look like something. I don't want it to be a black box below my desk that I don't want anybody to look at. It needs to look cool. So probably the kind of build that I'm going for, again, is this white case, full tempered glass panel, white motherboard. Maybe I'll end up going with the RGB RAM just to be a tool shed about it. And then, try to start picking color schemes. They just came out with Razer just came out with the new white stuff. They have a whole white series now, which is cool because you know how many times I've complained about Razer being an edgelord piece of shit, thing where everything they make is black and green. But now they've actually made a very good ambidextrous mouse and keyboard that are white. So maybe I might, and also they made the RGB mouse pads white too. They have a whole series now of shit that you can make that's all white. That's what I want to do, I think. But I don't know. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, that's true. I don't know what the fuck
I already told you I was making a white one after I bought the white motherboard.
But what case are you gonna do?
Probably that fractal design one.
The R5?
Yeah.
It's a nice case. Probably one of the best cases out there ever.
I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get the Corsair Vengeance white LED RAM, the Corsair liquid cooler there. I forgot what it was. Yeah, that's it, pretty much. I got the Ryzen already, and I'm gonna get the Superclock 2 1070.
The Superclock 1070?
Yeah, the EVGA.
Yeah.
1070.
I'm probably gonna err on the side for me if I'm gonna do anything. One of Becky's friends did one of those Cube Mini ITX builds. Mini ITX. He did a Cube Mini ITX build with a budget motherboard, a 1050 in it, which you can do in one of those Cube machines because the 1050 is a discrete card. It's not. It's a real short card.
Yeah, it's real small.
So he did the 1050 in there.
It's like 150 bucks, I think. The 1050.
Oh yeah. I saw a deal today. I think on one of the EVGA 1050s that was really cheap, and so that's probably I think maybe the aim of this current build is to try to stay in the current generation as much as I can, but to try to pick really in the mid-range or the low range of each one of those things. So it'll be like a Ryzen 5 1500X. It'll be the 1050. It'll be the BG 350 motherboards, the Asus motherboards, and it'll be the relatively mid-range white case. That's kind of the idea.
The whole point of mine is that I want to be able to do VR. I got an Oculus coming, so.
Whoa.
So I have the VR before I even got the computer to run it, but.
So did you get that deal, the sale that they were doing on the Oculus with the Touch for like $400?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That's so cool.
So I got that, and speaking of what have I been playing recently, I bought Res Infinite for PC because it just came out. Like I got,
and that's got the built-in VR mode, doesn't it?
Yeah, you ever heard of I Am 8-Bit?
Yeah, I feel like I have.
It used to be a show. Jensen Karp used to do the. They might still do it, but he used to do an art gallery. And one of the earliest shows was the I Am 8-Bit, and it was basically like a bunch of just 8-bit art.
Yeah.
That would be in a gallery. And so they kind of spun off, and they have their own website now, and they do, for like smaller games, they'll do like weird collector shit.
Right.
Like there's a lot of they did a Hyperlight Drifter, and they did a repo SNES cart with like a Hyperlight Drifter like sticker on it and everything. Like you couldn't play it, but it was just like a display cart, and it came with the game code. So
okay.
And then the PC version of Res Infinite just came out, and on I Am 8-Bit they came out with a neon orange cassette of the soundtrack that came with the game.
Wow.
So I bought that because I wanted Res Infinite because I really want to try it, and so I've actually been playing. I played the first two like rounds areas there of that.
Yep.
And that's pretty cool. It's basically like an on-rail shooter, rhythm style, screensaver. Like it's like an interactive screensaver. At first I was like, man, I'm like doing nothing here. But then when I played the second round, I'm like, all right, there's a little bit of difficulty to this. Like there's a game in here, but it looks fucking cool, if nothing else. And the soundtrack's awesome. It's all like electronica, fucking like they originally came out on the Dreamcast, I think, the Dreamcast, the PS2, somewhere one of those was it was the original release. So like it's that style electronica, where it's like dun dun dun, like the fucking
like hard, not hard style, but just regular trance type of shit.
Yeah.
And
like the visuals are real sick on it and everything else. So yeah, I've been playing that.
Okay.
Also, I got just bought the other day Hellblade
Yeah, I remember mentioning Hellblade to you a while ago because I knew
it just came out. Are you sure that was the game you mentioned to me?
You know, I was mentioning it to you because I knew when they had first started doing the mocap for it on those alpha builds when they had it at E3. I knew it was something that you'd like because it reminded me visually of what's the third person game that you played with the lady that's kind of like that. God damn it, why can't I think of the name of it? It was the hottest game for a while. You're hunting dinosaurs.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so the last time I mentioned that to you is because I kind of saw the parallel between the visual art style of both of those games.
Yeah, similar.
Hellblade being one that's a lot more. I mean, it's probably one of the most graphically intense games to come out right now.
Yeah, it's literally, and it's only $30.
How the hell is it $30? How long is it?
I think I read about 6 hours or so.
Oh, wow, that's very short.
Yeah, but still at the same
time,
time,
almost more of a cinematic experience.
There's $60 games that come out that are fucking.
Well, The Order 1886 was like fucking 6 hours, wasn't it?
It was like 4.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it was barely a game. It was like a quick time event extravaganza.
Oh, great, cool. Well, that's they at least managed the expectations of it and said, we can't in good. I mean, that's a real good move on their part. So you can't possibly put out a game that's 6 hours long for $59.99.
Well, yeah, you can.
You can. It's just that you
especially if they put that much work into it, to where it looks better than some games that are $60. This game looks fucking better than the visual fidelity, the mocap shit. But
I saw
I started playing that. I got about I want to say about 2 hours into it. I did the first boss.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a walking simulator, but with combat, basically. I want to say
there's a lot more exploration than there is combat. Is it very polished combat, or is it not so great on that side?
Well, it's pretty. It's not super complicated combat, but it's still like light strike, heavy strike, melee, dodge.
So block. It's Dark Souls,
but you're not picking up weapons. Like, you just use her sword. And it's from the people. It's Ninja Theory, so they're the people that made Heavenly Sword and DMC.
Oh, I love DMC. That was a really good reboot.
Yeah, so the combat's good, but it's not as complicated and off the rails as those games.
Right. Okay.
It's more focused.
It's also probably
more about the story, less about the combat. So
I was gonna say it's probably an exercise in visual storytelling as well as just writing a good story.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a point about
basically she has a mental illness.
She has psychosis. Of some kind.
And at the beginning, it tells you play this with headphones because they use binaural audio.
They do a lot of shit. That
so I play with headphones, and you could hear the voices. You'll have one voice cheering you on in this ear, and one voice telling you can't do it in this ear.
Oh,
and
that's cool. I
you're
love
just
that.
walking around, and the voices are crisscrossing in your head. And that's real fucking cool. So it's a pretty good game so far.
That's really, that's a very artistic point of view for that's pretty fucking cool.
If you got $30 to spend and you want a nice experience, I suggest.
The only thing that discourages me about that though is that I don't have a PS4 Pro and I don't have a fucking 4K TV. I'm not really getting
It still looks good though.
I know it's a beautiful game. I watched the rent, everything. I don't know. Feels disingenuous in a sense. It's not that I would want to miss out on a good
you should
experience.
think that about every game that comes out that has 4K or PS4 Pro support.
But I think with this one, they made such a point of it being.
Not really.
The next crisis. The visuals are
wow. They're not that crazy. They looks good. Horizon looks fucking crazy too.
Yes, that does. You're right. Well, whatever. I definitely do want to play it, and for $30, I can justify that right out of the box.
Yeah. The only problem is you'd have to wear your headphones, and.
I could do that.
Becky, I'm going in my special place.
I'm going in the zone right now.
I'm going crazy right now. I'm gonna have voices in my head.
who knows if I'm going to be able to come back from this, but
I can't make any promises, Bex.
She probably would welcome that, because then she can fucking watch the new season of America's Next Top Hooker or whatever it is she watches. What the hell was I thought about something while you were talking about that, and now I can't grab it. The other game that I wanted to play, and now I can't think of what it is. Shit. All right. Well, I got nothing.
Yeah. I think that was pretty much all. That's all I've been playing so far. I'm going to pick up this Shrouded Isle game. Seems pretty cool. It's like a resource.
What is it?
The Shrouded Isle.
Shrouded Isle.
Yeah. It's like it's a clicker. It's a resource management type game, and you're trying to it's got a Lovecraftian horror that you're like is the god over your area, and you're trying to appease the god, and so you use these different families to like run the town so that it appeases the god and he doesn't destroy the town.
Wouldn't figure you'd like that kind of game.
Well, it's only $10. I figured I'd try it.
You're just doing it from a I just want to see what it looks like, feels like type of thing, not really appreciating the gameplay style. I just wouldn't think you would.
Sometimes I do that.
Well, I did it with Dream Daddy. I was like, I was just very curious about Dream Daddy. I would never play a fucking. I mean, what the hell is a dating simulator? It's stupid, but then I sort of was like, wow, it's very well written. Holy shit. So yeah, I would imagine you probably would find the same situation with that game.
Yeah, as long as if it's good in that way, then it'll be good. If not, then I will have spent $10.
Yeah, there's no.
Just be like, whatever. Fuck, that's fucking pocket change. Literally, I got 50 cents right here.
50 cents. Now it's $9.50.
I got a tenth of it on my desk right now.
Lord Almighty. What a fucking. I was so excited to just do nothing today. Like, when Becky left this morning, it's like I'm just so happy to just drink 500 cups of coffee and sit here and do nothing. And that's exactly what I did.
Great.
And I couldn't be happier about it. It's like, it's so weird that I was in a tropical paradise for, 6 days, 5 nights or whatever. And it's like, at the last day when I was just trying to get home, I was just like, oh, I can't wait to come home and sit in my fucking cube and just sit on my shitty ass couch in front of my knockoff TV and watch a shitload of fucking Funhouse and Giant Bomb all day. Just waiting for them to post videos. Like, I watched everything else and I'm waiting. They posted something. I gotta watch it. Doesn't matter what it is. Just sitting there watching a bunch of fat 30-year-old dudes talk about fucking whatever, watching Giant Rom or whatever for an hour and a half. Couldn't be happier. And I don't know why. I think it's just because I'm getting older. In a way. Like, I feel like for some reason, like, going back to your house is like the greatest of life's pleasures. It's like, you ever get that feeling?
Yeah.
Where you're and it's not necessarily out of work, but like, I mean, you always get the feeling like, I just want to fucking get out of here and I gotta get the fuck out of work right now. But in a sense, like, even when I was on vacation, which is supposed to be, I want to stay here forever, I still got that little sense in my mind of just, I can't wait to sink into that couch.
Because that's like, you don't gotta do anything. There's
no expectation there.
Yeah. When you're on vacation, like, I should probably go do this. I should probably go on this tour while I'm here. I should probably see this while I'm here.
It's very much an exercise in urgency. And no matter how relaxing that you feel that it is,
also, I know I'm going to have to leave, and God knows what the fuck that's going to bring when I have to fly home.
Yeah. Which I have to think about every time I go anywhere. This isn't going to be a smooth ride home, Brent. You know that.
Grow up. Welcome to the real world, motherfucker.
Grow up. Welcome to the fucking real world. You're gonna go home, and by the time you get home, you will have faced so much adversity that the idea of sitting at home on a Saturday watching YouTube all day is gonna be the vacation after the vacation. When you need a fucking vacation from your vacation. It's really the long and short of it is like you go on tours for 13 hours a fucking day and you're all exhausted and whatnot. And it's all glamorous and you're smoking pot on the beach every night or whatever you're doing. And then when you come home, it's like, the mundane has never been more exciting is really the idea of that. So that's my long diatribe on that.
Great. That's probably the end of the podcast too.
Is it really the end? Oh, good. So now I can go sit back on my fucking couch.
Now you can go do more nothing.
Oh, the weight has been lifted, Dylan. So,
free at last. Free at last.
Free at last. Now, if you want to be free at last, you can listen to the audio versions of this podcast that are available on the rapidly failing SoundCloud.com. But if you want a longer staying power version of this podcast that is from a reputable company, you can also get the link to iTunes as well. And please subscribe, smash those buttons all over the place. Make sure that we get the views, the 20 views that we so wealthily deserve. And remember, you can't always be Devil May Cry the anime. Sometimes you can only be Castlevania. That's the Jack It Off podcast, episode 17, 16, 14,
16,
16,
16.
Christine, 16.
She's only
17, yeah.